Heyo everybody, Haku here with my live reaction for Tower of God Season 3 Episode 90, or overall Chapter 507. This is a little bit late recording this for me. I'm recording it a little after it came out. But I wanted to record it like right after it came out because I don't want to be spoiled on this one after the way that last chapter ended. I will say that I haven't been spoiled. People have been great for that recently. For a long time really. People have been great about not spoiling things. But yeah, people like in comments and stuff, you can kind of tell, when somebody's like hinting around things that it seems like something big might happen this chapter, and that concerns me. So I didn't want to get spoiled if something big does happen, especially with how crazy last chapter was. I really liked last chapter, and it concerns me a lot because this chapter could go a lot of ways. It could be great, or things could be a train wreck. And that has me like super nervous, super anxious about this chapter. I think for me personally, best case scenario is I've been saying for a while that the fight gets interrupted by Liboric's guy, and they have to work together to defeat him. So that's still on my mind. I think another great outcome would just be Bomb losing here and learning a lesson from it, growing for the future. That's a difficult one for me, though, because Bomb still needs to rescue Jinsung. White is also a character, though, that also has lessons to learn, has some growth emotionally to go through. So I feel like focusing on Bomb as the main character is one thing, but White's also a character that needs to grow from this. The worst case scenario, the train wreck scenario to me, is a scarily likely scenario of Bomb just pulling magic main character powers out of nowhere, defeating White, and that's it. That is a worst case scenario that is scary how likely it is. So that worries me a lot. It really does. There were other things that I wanted to say before I got into reading, but I feel like I'm forgetting most of them. Oh yeah, one last thing before I get into reading this, because I want to get some of these thoughts out before I read, just because after reading might change my opinion, so I want you to know what I'm thinking now before the chapter changes it. But one thing that I've mentioned before is that getting into the Bomb and White stuff here, to me, is difficult, and I think maybe it should have been done after all this, because to me the emotion isn't fully there, and the emotion and the storytelling in a fight is what matters to me. And for me, White or Bomb's emotion isn't there. I joke around and say, Bomb didn't care until now. It's not that he didn't care, he didn't know, to be fair. But at the same time, you can bring up, logically, why didn't he call to ever check on his friends over the course of like 3 years? And another aspect of that I just thought about over the past week that I think is a problem again, and people have brought up in my comments, they're like, Bomb just immediately believes White. He doesn't, who he knows is trying to goad him in to using his powers. He doesn't check with Kun or anything, he just believes him. Again, I can buy into that and be okay with that, because you can make the jump that Bomb always kind of knew, but he was in denial. But one of the issues to me is that this entire thing has been about Bomb sacrificing people, Bomb putting his own life on the line to try to rescue his master, to try to rescue Jinsung. We had the whole thing about all the dead bodies towards the beginning of this incursion, and Bomb having to be like, this is terrible, but I've got to make these decisions, I've got to save my master. But he's willing to throw that away here to fight White when he knows he isn't strong enough, and when he was right there, when he could have got to Jinsung, but he stayed back to fight White. And again, I think that it just leads into the problem with this happening right now, because again, it makes Bomb look like it's just an inconsistency that Bomb's willing to do all this to save Jinsung, but then he puts Jinsung on the back burner to fight White here, and is willing to die in this battle when Jinsung still isn't saved. And if he loses to White here, then Jinsling's not going to be saved. He sacrificed all these people for nothing. So it's a very difficult situation for me as a reader. I don't think that maybe this was the right time for all of this. Of course, I love White getting more development as a character and growth, but I don't know if this arc was the right place for this. But either way, let's actually get into the actual video and read this week's chapter. I just wanted to get those thoughts out beforehand because, of course, what happens in this chapter might completely change those opinions. Alright, so of course, starting where we left off, the exact panel it looks like. So I think this is, or like the exact 2 panels, so this is all going to be new content here. Oh, jumping straight into a dark twist. Also, no content warning again. I don't know if they just stopped doing those or not. They just decided, we don't need this anymore or whatever. Let's see what we end up with. A dark twist 9. Kuhn's side. Alright, we have the mouse running. Sorry, let me get my mouse off screen. My mouse off screen, ironically. God, it's so fast. Where the mouse's speed's adjusted according to the difficulty. But I have my plans too. I knew it'd come this way, and had a lighthouse ready at this corner. Squeak, you've fallen straight into my trap. He's too fixed on chasing that mouse. Oh, and we finally have some Nanotona? Most of the hunters don't even dream that they could be hunted. Interesting. So I was waiting for this moment. I was waiting for you to fall into the delusion that you can escape by catching that mouse. Then now. Cheese attack? It's time to fall into despair. Oh, we have transformed Nanotona. Okay. Interesting then. Ptooey. What? Nanotona's design's interesting. You know, I was expecting maybe a little bit more, but it's still cool. You're not going anywhere. Kuhn Lighthouse, special ability. Freeze. We see him using his Shinzu quality. Always love to see it. I got it. Okay, now I gotta find somebody who'll be helpful to bomb and deliver the mouse. Again, I love this for Kuhn, actually, that rather than using it himself, he's planning to capture it to bring to someone who'd be useful on the field, while he plays his role more useful as a light bearer. I really like that. Then it can help. Okay, what? We see a flash. Something doesn't feel right. Die. Nanotona attacks his lighthouse and laughs maniacally. Moron. Okay, cutting back to bomb. Okay, cutting back to the main stuff. Okay. We still have bomb face down, covered in blood. This is what I've been waiting for. Okay, flashback time. Acraptor. Prince. What is it, Viol? You're having a hard time falling asleep too? A little. Why? Is something bothering you? Just, I was thinking about the past. What about you, Acraptor? My daughter just popped up into my head this night. You had a daughter. Yeah, I had a daughter who I parted from a long time ago. I gave her the other pair of this earring before leaving her. Okay, so more like, I don't want to call it retconning, but more revealing that in the past more people knew about this earring thing. I'll probably never see her again, but the thoughts of her sometimes keep me up at night. But even if this gives me insomnia, I wish this would keep happening. Is it because you might completely forget about your daughter? Right. You must have somebody like that too. It's sad to presume, but I think you guys climbing up the tower, or this tower now, are like my daughter. If one of you dies during this journey, it'll probably be in the back of my head forever like my daughter. Well, no matter how much I fear about that, I feel so lucky having met you guys. Damn it, I love Acraptor. He was one of my absolute favorite characters. They just had to do my boy dirty. Man. I'm getting emotional. I love Acraptor. I won't regret it. No matter how hard, I'll never regret meeting you. So, even if I put you in a tough situation later, don't regret it either. Acraptor. What's this at nighttime? What are you two planning? Prince, you just can't interrupt other people's conversations. You guys. Acraptor, you're not planning to betray us and join FUG, are you? Is that true, mister? That's nonsense. You guys are up late playing games again? That's because Prince wanted to. Go to sleep now. It's so loud. I can't sleep with you guys chatting. Don't you know sleep is essential for skin health? What's this? Everybody but the sweet and sour team's leader gets along well. There you go again. Just go to sleep, you idiots. I regret it. Meeting you guys? Meeting the master. And he thinks about Jinsung and my teammates. I regret that all now. So again, it's so interesting. I like seeing Bomb as the opposite of Acraptor, where even if things go wrong, I don't regret meeting you. But Bomb does regret meeting them. Because you met someone like me, everything seemed to have gone wrong. So now, oh god, main character powers. Okay, another wham. I want to reset it to normal. We see the Shinsu coming off of him. Alright. And him getting back up. What is this going to be? Then White reacting. It's too late to return everything the way it was. But I'll try my best to do so. And now all the blood's coming up. What? The blood is moving backwards. Oh, is Arya going to reverse time? Or did he copy the power from touching her? Because we know that, like, that's been his whole thing, is power copying. Again, though, if he can just reverse time and resurrect people, if you wrote Arya into the story to give Bomb the power up of now being able to turn back time, when of course Arya was already a tenuous part of the story, being like, okay, why did we just throw in another random ranker to instantly befriend Bomb? If it was all to just give him time reversing powers, when again, Bomb, it's been a problem with multiple characters that I feel like a bunch of people have talked about a lot, with giving characters in Tower of God new powers without fully exploring their old powers. Again, it's a problem. So, Arya looks like she's coming back. Fitbit? Arya looks like she's coming back. What? How am I? What happened? I'm alive. This can't be. And then he looks up. Alright. Big Shinsu. Big Shinsu stuff. Oh, is it the thorn? And then White moves a sword, turning back towards Bomb. A black Shinsu. Is this going to be a Black March? Are we getting confirmation on what's happening there? I'll return things to normal. Alright. You should go back too. Oh, and he's going, this doesn't look like full burnt chestnut. But to the place you belong. Alright. To hell. I don't believe this. Can he bring back the dead now? Thank you, White. Again, this, I think, is also a big problem. I think Naya mentioned it recently, talking about Gato and being like, okay, Gato confronts Bomb, and it's like, oh, this high ranker's dead. Well, and it's like, it sucks that you're like, oh, this high ranker's dead, when, like, the main character should have some actual stress or tension there. But I have found myself through this entire Bomb and White situation. I'm not going to lie to you all. I'm on Team White here. I've been hoping that White wins this entire time. So it's like, I don't know. Is it a failure of the series if I'm actively rooting for the main character's loss? If I'm actively rooting for White to win. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I know even the slightest bit of criticism is too much, but yeah, I'm not a fan. Can he bring back the dead now? Totally Team White. And he fires Shinsu Blast time. White avoids it. Did the Shinsu's property change? White style lethal move. Sapphire single shot. Another issue, too, if Bomb beats White here. Because, again, I hate power scaling and stuff. And again, cutting to an aside, if we saw that Bomb pre-time skip, the most recent time skip, couldn't take on Calivan. White is somebody who can overpower Calivan, who has been like one of the strongest people in the entirety of Zahard's forces. If Bomb can beat White here, why not just go ahead and move us to the end of the series? It feels like if Bomb beats White here, give him the Fitbit, send him up against Zahard, we don't need 80 more floors. Just send him to the end game. Like, there's no point if he can beat White at this point. If he can beat White at this point, everything between now and the end game is gonna seem like filler. It's gonna be like, okay, just send him to Zahard. Apparently, if he can just pull out random magic main character power whenever there's even the slightest bit of danger, just throw him at Zahard. He'll pull out a random main character power, he'll beat Zahard. Like, if he beats White here, he can beat Zahard. All he has to do is pull out a main character power. So, we have him breaking through the slashes with a swipe of the hand. I must have awakened something. So this is interesting. I'm wondering if this is because of the Black March, or if this is because... Okay, so I theorized way back when that the Shinsu quality, we know that the Shinsu colors likely correspond to each of the family heads. And I thought that Bomb and like the family heads each have one that corresponds to the colors of the 13-month series. So I theorized a while back that Bomb's true power when he used it back against Data Zahard was black and colorless because of V and because of Arlen, and the colorless December, I think it is, was the corresponding 13-month to Arlen, and that's why the colorless makes sense, and that's why Bomb has such a connection to Black March, because the Black Shinsu is V's. So I'm wondering if this could be because of V that the Black Shinsu is activating. So it could be because of Black March, could be because of V. It'll be interesting to see, and we get cliffhung. So again, here's the thing. I can't complain too much because the story's not over. And when the story's not over, there's always a chance that things could get better. In the next chapter or two, we don't know how things are going to end. Things could end perfectly fine. But as for this one chapter itself, to just judge the one chapter itself, I don't like it. I don't like Bomb just pulling out random main character power. Because like I said at this point, just throw him up against Zahard. He'll pull out a random main character power. Like, there really isn't any tension here. I'm actively rooting for White to just mop the guy. I really, really don't like this turn of events. I don't. I mean, it kind of makes sense with him reversing time and all. He touched Arya. We know that he's been copying people's power since the beginning. But just because it makes sense doesn't necessarily mean it's a very good story. It's like you can say, oh, Bomb's an irregular, so things are super, super easy for him. And you can make it make sense that way, but that doesn't make it an interesting story. So yeah, I have a lot of problems with this. Fully Team White here. Fully Team White here. It will be interesting to see where it goes, though. Like I said, I have to reserve and hold off some of my judgment until we see how it ends. Because things could go any sort of way. Like last chapter. I thought last chapter was great, but you kind of have to reserve judgment because something like this chapter can happen. I think this chapter, not very good, but I have to reserve judgment because next chapter could fix all of that. Next chapter could be great. But yeah, as for right now, not a fan. Not a big fan. Also, the Kun and Nanotona stuff. Was hoping for a little bit more with Nanotona. I thought that Kun's planning was good, that he was going to use the mouse to give to others. But again, we didn't really get to see a lot of that, so we'll have to wait and see where it goes. So yeah, that's where I am with this chapter. As a single chapter, not judging anything else around it, not judging where it might go, I'm not a huge fan, but, man, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, just as a single chapter, not the biggest fan, but my opinion is wait and see. my opinion, just like last week, is wait and see. Last week, liked the chapter, but wait and see. Who knows where it goes this week? I don't like the chapter, but again, wait and see where it goes. But yeah, if Bomb does just main character power up, with the swipe of his hand, he knocks away my ability. When again, we saw wide overpowering Calivan, who's one of the strongest characters, who took down a top 100. If we're at that stage, there's no reason Bomb can't just beat Zahard now, and we can just end the series. If he can do this to White. So again, I hate getting into power scaly stuff, but the power scaly stuff doesn't matter if Bomb can just pull out magic main character powers whenever. So yeah, either way, that's it, I guess. Again, I hate being negative and critical, but when you need to be, you need to be. So either way, like if you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of this chapter, my first thoughts and reaction. Subscribe for more Tower of God, much more on the channel. There's going to be a lot more Tower of God stuff coming. Oh, I totally forgot. Oh man, do I want to do this as a separate video, or do I want to put it in this video? Okay, I will inject some Tower of God positivity into this reaction. So, for those of you that don't know, for the past months and months and months, I've been going through Tower of God, rereading it, taking notes on every single chapter of Screentime to see which characters in Tower of God have the most screen time. And as of yesterday, I got to the halfway point. I was planning to do the first 500 chapters. That way it's nice and even. Out of the first 500 chapters, what do the character screen time statistics look like? So, I made it to chapter 250, finished that. So we're halfway through, and I went through my data and compiled the top 50 characters by screen time. In the first 250 chapters. So actually, I would like to talk about that with all of you. Let me bring that up. That's a bit of positivity we can jump to. Just give me 1 second. I'll bring that up. Okay, so to talk about the top 50 characters by screen time in the first 250 chapters, which is up to, I think we're on a month. I think that's the arc I'm on, the a month arc. So right before Dollar Show, a little bit before Dollar Show, but after Wooden Horse. So we're a little bit into Hell Train, just a little bit. So here we are, the top 50 characters. Yuri, I went to 50 just so people could see. Yuri doesn't have that much screen time. In the first half of the series, Yuri is 50th. And then there's a tie between Hana-Yu or Yuhana. I put Yuhana in that name order just because it is supposed to be the surname, like Yuan Sung. Then Verdi is tied. Then Io and Sunwoo Nare, which is such an interesting one. I would never expect Io, the one sort of, I don't know what to even call him, the workshop battle MC guy, is in the top 50 in screen time. Then 44th, there are a lot of ties. I'm thinking by the time I get to 500, there will be less ties, but it actually surprised me even at 250 chapters, just how many characters I was like, wow, they show up the same amount of times. 44th, Hong Chunhwa and Lopo Biaren. 43rd, Cheng Blurode, not a ton of screen time. 42nd was Levin. Then we got Muntari and Vespa tied for 40th. Moving into the top 40, Ho, Serena, and Aka Williams tied for 37th. Yuan Sung at 36th. Not really a lot in the first half. You know, I'm a big Yuan Sung fan, so hoping in the second half he can crank those numbers up a bit because of Season 3. Alexei Amigo Chaz at 35, and Hanul Kang at 34, both pretty high. Paracool 33rd amount, tie for 31st between Hayura and Quietro Blitz, tie for 28th, 3 ways between Buelser Elliott, Emily, and Quant Blitz. Now for Emily, I'm counting any time that she shows up, like the sort of physical version that we saw within the egg, or whenever the mascot icon shows up. So I'm counting either of those as appearances for Emily. So anytime somebody has their phone out, looks at the specific Emily talking to them, I counted that. When we got to see the actual like mascot talking to them through their phone, basically. So where was I? I was at Emily. Then, yeah, Emily was tied, same screen time as Quant. And I did count all of Quant's little cameos on like chip bags and soda cans and stuff. I counted that for Quant. 26 is a tie between Angel and Ed and Dan. This was shocking to me. I had to go back and check my notes because I was like, this cannot be right. There is no way. But Traveler was in top 25? Like, that's wild to me. Absolutely wild. That Traveler is somehow in the top 25 most screen time having characters. Then there's Goseng in 24th, Daniel in 23rd, which is pretty nuts considering he just showed up at this point in the story. Same with Boro, tied with Jaja, and getting into the top 20th, we have Leroro at 19th, Fonseca Lere, 18th, Kasano. Kasano having the 18th most screen time is pretty nuts too. Misang in 17th, a tie between Novik and Horyang in 15th, a tie between Ron and Prince in 13th, and then another shocker, like Hatsu in 12th, but Andrasi isn't even in the top 10 when it comes to screen time. And judging, she's going to get a lot more screen time when I get through the notes on Name Hunt Station, Floor of Death, Hidden Floor, Last Station. But I don't know, there are a lot of other characters that are going to get a ton of screen time too, so Andrasi could realistically not make it into the top 10, which is crazy to me. A knock in top 10, her spot's not looking good because she basically, other than a few cameos here and there, does not show up again in the back half of the series. So that top 10 spot, not looking good for a knock. We just saw Akraptor in this flashback, and it bums me out. Akraptor, his top 10 spot, not looking good either. Yeon Yiwa in 8th, which again, her top 10 spot, not looking too good. Then we've got Rachel in 7th. For top 5, a tie this high up between Shibisu and Waryun, having the same amount of screen time in the first 250 chapters. So top 5 tie is crazy. Wangnan in 4th. Rak in 3rd surprised me because I really didn't think Rak would be this high up. But ironically, people always complain saying, Rak doesn't do anything in Hell Train. Ironically, he's carried by his workshop battle and early Hell Train appearances, because pre-workshop battle, he maybe was in like 4 panels. I don't know. He was barely in season 2 pre-workshop battle. And then before that, season 1, I don't even think Rak was in top 5 season 1. In season 5, Bomb had the most screen time with 1 more appearance than Kun. So Kun almost had... In fact, when I was going through taking notes, Kun had more screen time than Bomb for most of season 1 until the last few chapters. In the last few chapters, we focused more on the Bomb and Rachel stuff, and Bomb was able to overtake him and beat Kun by 1 appearance. But behind them, I think 3rd was a knock, 4th was probably Andrasi, Shibisu was somewhere in the top 5, and even, I don't know if Hatsu may have had more appearances than Rak, so Rak was not in the top 5. So between him not being in the top 5 in season 1, and pretty much not showing up again pre-workshop battle, I didn't think he would be top 3. I honestly, absolutely didn't think that. But yeah, he was carried by how much screen time he got in Workshop Battle and in like Revolution Road and the stuff going on with first getting on the train. Like, he actually has a surprising amount of screen time there. Second, Kun, not surprising. And Bomb in first, again, not surprising. Now, something that was surprising, like I mentioned in Season 1, Bomb only had 1 more appearance than Kun. Their screen time was pretty evenly split. And then in Workshop Battle, because I kind of split things up to make it easier to take notes, I took notes on Season 1, and then I worked through pre-Workshop Battle, like Return of the Prince Saga, Season 2, then I did Workshop Battle, then I did sort of Revolution Road and its surrounding arcs. Right now I'm doing everything post-Revolution Road through Dollar Show. And in Workshop Battle, Bomb actually didn't have the most screen time. Kun had more screen time than Bomb in Workshop Battle, which is, again, another interesting thing. So, yeah, that was top 50, injecting a little bit of positivity at the end of this video. But, yeah, not the best chapter, but I had some fun here. So thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that. Follow on Twitter if you want. If you want a link to the Discord server, just ask and I can give you a link. And if you want to help support the channel on Patreon, it is patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes, or a link will be in the description. Either way, that's it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.